So management has told us from H&M that we need to change our energy behaviors and consumption. And how are we going to do that? We're going to do so the M&H Corporation has obviously been telling us that we need to change our energy behavior and consumption. So how are we going to do that? I had the great idea today. We're doing a clothing swap. It's going to happen in 2 days, and according to the data that I have, 60% of the time, it works every time. So it's going to work. It can't fail.
Why, he is correct. It will make people think that we care about the environment and corporate will like us more. According to the survey that we sent out to all of 15 people, people like to donate their clothing, which means that they will show up.
Yeah, this is actually a really big issue we should definitely focus on.
So I was saying, why aren't you guys excited as I am? Come on, guys. Like, this is a great idea. The data, it says, it's gonna be okay. Yes.
What if people don't show up?
Come on, guys. The data says here it's clearly gonna work. Don't worry about that. People are gonna show up.
So we came, we sat for 4 hours, and then nobody showed up. But luckily, at least, a couple of our coworkers brought in some clothing so that we could at least show that we save some energy so that we don't get shut down.
I even made this really cool clothing swap poster, and a student from Green New World reposted it. And it was not only a way of getting cool new items for your new wardrobe, you're also being environmentally conscious as well. And we got behavior norms on there, we got everything on there.
Okay, so for our clothing swap event, we only had 2 participants, myself and Lauren's friend. So in total, we had 67 items donated, and 148.457768 kilowatt hours per kilogram was saved. This is, however, an underestimation due to spandex, metallic, rayon, and elastic not being able to be included in it, since we weren't able to find any sufficient data. So this is an example of how we calculated the energy consumption. For example, linen. First, we figured out how much energy was used per kilogram. So for example, linen uses 28.3 kilowatt hours per kilograms. And then from there, we looked at the average weight of the item. For example, linen is around 7 ounces. And then from there, we converted the percentage that the clothing item had. For example, this clothing item had 14% linen in it. And then from there, we times the kilogram by the kilowatt hour per kilogram, and we got the total amount saved. And then from there, we added up all of the clothes together to get our grand total.
I can't believe it. My pie charts, they didn't work. Oh, what am I gonna do?
Hey,
What is
man,
it?
it's all good. Listen, we ended up doing some research. We found out that only 5% of donations end up getting thrown out from Goodwill and put into the landfill. So we did save some because our clothing, it wasn't moldy or fitting the criteria for anything that would have gotten thrown out. So don't worry.
This is excellent. We did something? My plan worked? Okay, we're doing Project 2.0. This is it. You're in charge. We need surveys. We need more people. We need all hands on deck. We need to go right now.
So, as assistant to the regional manager, I was in charge of sending out the surveys, and I included a dynamic social norm in the description saying that other people are starting to buy secondhand clothing. So here are the results of the surveys. So I made all these beautiful pie charts, and then Shaz at corporate told me that this was bad data visualization, so I had to change them. And here are the better data visualization of the results of our survey. As you can see, most people did they do donate their clothing or resell, which is good. Also, a lot of people just want others to benefit from old clothing, but they do. Almost everyone agrees that everyone should donate their old clothing, and the thought behind that question was to see how it impacted the sentiment, and people love it.
Okay, so moving forward, I think the clothing swap actually was still a very good idea of how to save energy. I just think in the future we should start to advertise a lot earlier and also push our survey more aggressively outside of our friend group to have like less biased results, such as potentially putting it on Qualtrics or something like that. But I do think with what we did today, we did a very good job.
My next idea, we're swapping cars.